Alright, what you see here is a Mainstays Hugger ceiling fan in 42 inches. This is their cheapest ceiling fan that you can find at Walmart. It is basically a knockoff of the Harvey's Armitage, the older version that was in 42 inches, before they redesigned it into a much more appealing look, I think. Although, the only difference is that it's in a polished white finish, not a matte white. Although the earlier versions of the Armitage that had this design was in that polished white finish. A lot of the Harvey ceiling fans from the early 2000s that were in the white finish weren't matte white. They were actually a natural white finish for the most part. But yeah, I got this fan not for the collection. This is not the other one that I got during the summer of 2020 new in the box. That one I was actually going to install in the other basement, but then I changed my mind because I need something a little bit better over there. Back when I still had that installed over on the other side. This one is going to be a fan that I am going to basically do what Vintage Fans and More, better known on Facebook as Colts and Manco, did with the Hampton Bay Littleton, where he installed it outside. I figured I'd at least get a video of it brand new out of the box before doing that. Some people might say, oh, just destroy it. I don't like to do videos of me destroying a fan. I'm not really into that stuff. And plus, afterwards, I just feel like, oh, after I destroyed it, what other fun can I have with it? Well, by putting this fan outside, I can have more fun with it, in my opinion, because I can watch it deteriorate over time. And once the blades are too deteriorated, hopefully they last at least a year being outside, but who knows. Basically, like, once the blades wear out, I'll just replace it with other blades until the fan is to the point where it can't run no more. So that's what I'm planning to do with this fan. Now, some people might say, oh, I could have just got one used. The fan was $23. The chances of me finding one a little bit cheaper used it's not really likely. A Littleton, that's one thing, but this is even worse than a Littleton. So I figured this would rot away even quicker. Plus, this is cheaper than a Littleton in terms of the price. So I figured I'd do this one. Yeah. It uses basically the same sized motor as the Mainstays Huggers from the early 2000s, I'd say. The blades already came a bit warped, as you can see. Well, that is typical Walmart quality for you. It does look a bit different than the one that Tori the Fanman did at a video of at his old house. It doesn't have those just straight line vents. It has some more traditional vents, which I prefer the look of. Makes it look less cheap, even though it's obviously a cheap fan. Another thing is it has a different tone to the bleach stroke. I just turn on the light. Let's here just to show it. It has a more traditional look of the bleach stroke, not the one that is shown in his video. Has this frosted schoolhouse globe. It's something I've never seen before. It's actually something I actually like to it. It's actually unique. Now, the thing that I feel makes it look extremely cheap is the fact that it has this UL information on the switch housing instead of the there it is, instead of the top of the motor. Another thing about this is also that it's made by Paramax. It says it on the top. I think on like the bottom of the box somewhere, but this fan has no vents on the motor whatsoever. Whereas I think the one that Tori had left behind in his house before he moved out actually had motor vents to it. So this one's even worse because of that. So with that being said, basically this one has the same issue that a Dayton or the leading edge Day turds would have, whereas the motor would seize up over time and fail. Now it's only a $20 fan, so it's really nothing really to be worried about. I could really care less. And I do like the look of the fan. This is the second one that I got. I have the other one still. I was gonna use it. I'd rather keep that one intact because I can always use it as replacement stock. But I've always wanted to at least have some fan like this just to actually have it right away. So, yeah. Comes with a great value LED light bulb for 60 watts. I remember back when I lived at the old apartment, when I was deciding on putting a kitchen fan there, way back in 2013, I was thinking instead of putting like that Littleton, or what I ended up getting for the kitchen at the time was the Hampton Bay Clarkson nets and white finish net. I installed at my grandmother's house. I was thinking about putting one of these there, but my mom decided that she wanted something that if we were gonna put a fan there with a light, we might as well put one that had more than one light bulb to it. But yeah, it doesn't give off that much light. It's just a 60-watt bulb. Not bad, but could be better. I mean, it's just a single watt light, so it's not a big surprise. So here it is on low speed. Despite these being extremely cheap fans, I do like these cheaper huggers, like these, as they are childhood for me. I can like see these at like a fair or something like that, like in a trailer thingy. In fact, I can really see this in a trailer home, if anything. Kind of gives me like a fairgrounds vibe of some sort, or like those traveling performing things, like in like one of those food stands. The other one that I have, I was originally going to keep it installed here. I put it up and then I realized I'd rather just keep testing stuff down here. But the thing with that one is that it was made on December of 2019, which is the time that my uncle passed away. So since it was made the exact time my uncle had passed, basically, I couldn't bring myself to just use that one as the experiment fan to let it rot away outside. So I got this one instead. So that's one I'm definitely keeping permanently just because of the date that's on it. I was actually going to use it in the other basement. That was actually the main purpose I was going to use for it, but when I had the installation there, but then I ended up putting the Coastal Breeze up in that back space for a short time. But yeah, here it is. So this one. But yeah, the motor on it's basically the same motor as like the older ones in terms of the size. It's not really anything different. One thing I gotta say is it's actually quiet on the low speed, which is nice. For something like so cheap, I'm really surprised it's actually this quiet. I thought it'd be like SMC noisy in terms of, or like just Ancon noisy and such. But it's actually very quiet. And that's actually the other reason why I was thinking of installing the other one in the other basement, because of how quiet it is. I was wondering if it was just that specific fan, but as I can see with this one, it's not really making any loud humming noise, especially on the lower speeds. And that is something that can be an issue of these cheaper hugger ceiling fans. I mean, it has a little tiny hum, but for what it is, it could be a lot louder in terms of the quality. I'm surprised that's not making an extremely loud hum to it. And that can be heard upstairs and such. I'd even keep this installed down here. Let it run on the low speed just to kind of keep circulation down here. Kind of like what I was doing with the Minka Air Mesa. Because I do have that wooden board sealed up a bit again, so it is more hot in here again. But I have the Lasco box fan. I'd rather just use that when I'm down here to keep me cool. It's sealed up, that board on the side, but it's not sealed up like it was before. So there is still a bit of air from outside coming in. but not letting all the cool air coming in. So hopefully it does the same in the summertime where it keeps it kind of cool down here and doesn't let all the hot air from outside get in. But yeah. Well, basically what I'm gonna do with this one is I'm not gonna leave it outside all the time, all year long, because then it's also gonna get thrown out if someone sees it. I kind of just like do it if it's like raining out, snowing, which happens to be snowing outside. Well, it's slushy right now. As of right now when I'm filming it. But in a weather like that, I'll put it outside, let it get snowed on, rained on, and let it get deteriorated over time. I'm gonna have it facing upwards, just literally just sitting outside with the glass area facing upwards. I'm obviously not gonna put the glass outside because then it's gonna get damaged. And I'm not trying to pick up glass outside where, or have glass get broken in the driveway. Yeah, that's kind of an obvious reason why I wouldn't want that happening. But basically I'll just have it facing up, have it like as if I was floor testing it outside, and have the blade arms installed and especially since the fan has no vents, the chance of water getting into the actual motor is slim to none. So I really don't see the fan itself actually burning out. Because of that, if anything, it's probably just gonna rust away more. And if it does burn out a little bit, I really don't care. But I remember Cole had his outside, the Littleton, and it even ran with snow on it, and it still worked until it died out. But that fan actually has some vents on the top of it being a Littleton. This one has no vents whatsoever, so I don't see that happening with this one. And that is the oil tank trying to start up. I just shut off the thing just so I wouldn't make any noise. Well, it's making noise, but it's not making the loud noise it would usually make if it was actually running right now. Now, I was thinking to myself that this wouldn't be a bad replacement stock fan for like a place in general. I gotta take that back, and this is just from what I'm seeing with it on the medium speed. Not for high. Doesn't really go that fast for a 42-inch fan, to be honest. But at the same time, this thing is a Walmart fan, so that is not surprising. In all honesty, it's probably just as powerful as the older Mainstays Hugger fans from like the 2000s. It's not like one's better than the other. It seems to be about the same, to be honest. I remember my grandmother had not the Mainstays version, Mainstays Hugger in her bedroom, but the Home Trends one from Walmart. That was in a polished white finish, not the matte white. But what was I gonna say? I remember that one went a bit faster though than this. So the airflow I don't remember because I was a little kid. And then around 2007, one of the blades broke off, so it didn't run until it got replaced with the Clarkson. But yeah, this thing moves very little air, even on high speed. Honestly, even the Littleton moves more air than this. And that's honestly saying something, that even something as weak as that, moves more than this. I mean, I'm feeling a breeze from it, but it's really not much. So like if you use this in a room that's pretty hot, or like in the kitchen especially, this is not going to do anything for you. I even thought of putting one of these in the storage unit instead of the Littleton. Heck, even the Littleton would have been a better choice. I was honestly thinking about leaving the other one up as a replacement fan for when I moved out of this apartment and take down the No Profile Plus. That would be a huge slap in the face for whoever moves into this space next, even though they can just toss it out afterwards. Leaving this up is even, honestly, it's worse to leave this up in the kitchen versus the just a flush light, to be honest. That's kind of how useless it is in terms of performance. And for those who know me, for me to say that about a fan, that's very rare. As I usually do find some sort of pros of a fan, even if it's extremely horrible in terms of quality. I try to at least find some pro about it in terms of the performance. Like, oh, it might not be the best air mover, but at least it does a decent amount. This is almost the air movement you'd feel from like a fan on like a medium low speed, in terms of like the high speed on this one. I mean, I am feeling just a tiny bit of breeze going throughout the basement, but compared to other fans I've tested down here of this size, or just in general, this is definitely going to be like the weakest fan I've tested down here. And that really doesn't surprise me, because again, it's a Walmart fan. But one thing I do notice with this one compared to the other one is that the motor on this one's a little bit more stiff. So that might be another reason why it's not running as fast, possibly, as it normally was. But again, this is the one that's going to be tortured basically by having it outside exposed to the elements. So that really doesn't concern me at all. Alright, now for spin down, and then I'll show it on reverse. I honestly sometimes do wonder that if Walmart stopped having a fan display, not because it would use up a lot of electricity, because you could tell that those fans didn't move almost no air. And I'm not saying that as a sarcastic way. I'm kind of serious about it. And plus, people can see how cheap they are if they like see them looking beat up and such. But that is kind of the issue when you have ceiling fans running on display, especially if one hits another one. If they're like swamping them out or something, or just doing anything with them. But with Home Depot and Lowe's, it's kind of different. But Lowe's, you don't really see any beat up fans there, really. Not like at Home Depot, due to the way that they have the displays and such. Or the forklifts tend to be the things that break the blades on them. Either that or the fans on the displays at Walmart probably encountered a lot of issues after being run so much and not wanting to show that they're cheap quality. They just figured not having a display would be the best. I mean, it's one thing if they had them just on display, not running, but yeah. To have people install them, especially people who just work, they are not really experts at installing it, probably just need more work for them than what's worth to pay. Alright, here it is on the reverse. And for that being said, it just probably wouldn't be worth it. I have been thinking of like whenever we can possibly sell my grandmother's house of putting one of these in her bedroom. She had an older Walmart hugger in her bedroom years ago before we replaced it with the antique brass Hampton Bay Clarksons. I feel like it would be kind of poetic to put a newer version of one there before the house gets sold at some point in the future. Now, when I do have this fan outside, I'm obviously not going to have the blades installed on it. I have the blade arms installed, but the blades will just be next to it. Only because if I have them installed sitting outside, obviously something will hit it, bend it, the blade arms, and either break the blades in the blade arms. And I'd really, even though I'm letting the fan right away outside, I do want it to at least still be intact for it to run whenever I do another video of it. Like honestly, I don't want to have the blade arm break and then have to get another blade arm on it and such. Yeah, I gotta say, this thing is really bad. I mean, I know the other one that I had, or that I got back in the summer of 2020, at least performed a little bit better than, like, I mean, it went a little bit faster, but it also was pretty slow, too. Might just be that since it was so hot down here when I tested it, I felt like it was actually moving a decent breeze, but testing this one, that probably doesn't seem to be the case. I think I was only thinking about installing that one on the other side just because it was so quiet. But yeah, that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed and stay tuned for more videos to come.